What's up everybody, Ruben Garcia with Find Fayetteville, and if you've been thinking about moving to the Fayetteville area, either that be PCSN or maybe you're just visiting or TDY, you might want to check out some of the what could be perceived as negatives in our area, especially if you're coming up from or coming down here from the north. It could be a culture shock. So I would love to go over the 5 things that you may find negative here around Fayetteville, North Carolina. So number 1, bugs. This is probably the biggest thing we hear is the amount of bugs that we do have here. You'll be in the middle of a conversation and a gnat just might go into your mouth, try to crawl into your eyes. There is the old thing where you keep your hand up and the gnats kind of hang around your hand. This is of course during summertime, but that's been a concern for some people as they come here. It's just, there's a lot of bugs. Once it gets to summertime and the humidity hits, you're definitely gonna run into more of those bugs. Like I said, gnats being one of those can be a little aggravating in the middle of a conversation out there outside talking to anyone. Also flies. Now flies are smart here, okay? They will wait till you crack the door to your house barely and they will make their way in and you never even knew it. You don't know that they've been conspiring the whole day, watching your schedule, figuring out when you come in and when you go out, how long you leave the door open, how many flies they can get in once that door is cracked. It is pretty tough, the amount of flies that you could get into your house. So yeah, you gotta kind of watch out for that. There are of course little hacks that you could do. You have the fly strands of sticky tape is what it looks like that can catch them. You see some people who hang bags of water, and they say if they see their own reflection they won't necessarily want to jump in to your house, so you'll see that type of stuff, but definitely flies as well. Also may want to watch where you step, because anytime we're walking around, we're walking in the woods, we're walking my dog, I'm with my family or I've got my youngest 4-year-old with me, I'm making sure where she is stepping, she's aware of where she's stepping, because we have fire ants. We do have fire ants here, and what is that, right? So you'll see these mounds of dirt, big, medium, large, and it doesn't look too active on the outside, but if you kick it, or if you step on it, or if you poke your finger in it, or if you hit it with a stick, they pour out. I mean, it's almost like a water of ants. They pour out, and these aren't nice. They're not coming to greet you, shake your hand, and wish you an amazing day. They're gonna bite, they're gonna sting, and they will leave little marks all over you if you allow it to. If you step on it, you better pull that shoe off and wipe them off as soon as possible. I mean, they are lethal. So you have to watch out for those when you're walking. I always tell our family, look down when you're walking. In certain areas, always look down, because you do not want to kick one of these. They find way of your socks. It's hard to get them off, and once they're on, it's a warfare at that point. So they're called fire ants. I mean, that should be enough warning right there. So we definitely have fire ants, and you have to be careful of those as well. Now, some people are scared. So this is like the bugs and more section. Some people are scared of snakes. We do have snakes. We have, cottonmouth, we have corn snakes, we have rat snakes, king snakes, we have snakes, okay? And the way that we look at it as a family, we love snakes. Snakes are really good. And you do have the king snakes and other snakes that will eat other snakes to keep that population down. You have hawks and stuff that would do that too, but we love rat snakes. We have a large one that lives somewhere in our backyard, and it's huge. And we love it because what is it doing? Right? It's eating the possums, the rats, if there's rats back there, or any other rodent that may come along our way. So we enjoy them. Most of the time, if you get near cottonmouth, they're not going to bother you. They're going to go away. They don't want to bother you. They don't want to waste their venom on you, right? Because they need that venom for the next rodent. So some people are scared of snakes, so I figured I would say that, but I'm telling you, if you leave them alone, they're gonna leave you alone. Spiders. So spiders is a thing. We have moved into this house, and this is on a slab, and what we have found is that we have more spiders, for whatever reason, being on a slab. Again, we're cool with spiders. Spiders eat all the bugs we don't want in here, right? Like roaches or anything like that may be wanting to come in. We've got a barricade. We've got webs, we've got wolf spiders, and we've got garden spiders, and they're ready. And they're here to protect us, and we appreciate that. If you were like me as a kid, you used to throw other bugs in the web and watch it happen. But we definitely have spiders here. Again, we see it to be a plus to ensure to keep the bugs out. But if you're afraid of spiders, just know that we have them here, and we got wolf spiders, which don't necessarily come across as a pleasing spider. It's large and brown, and they run fast. I mean, they're wolf spiders. That's how they attack their prey. They run them down. So spiders. Now you will hear some people say that they have water bugs, and you may think, oh cool, great, sounds like a cute little bug that flips over on his back and starts to swim that way, and it's the coolest and cutest thing. No, water bugs to me are large roaches. All right, they're big and they can fly. Okay, so you know, I remember I was at someone's house and there was a water bug going up the wall, and we were like, oh my gosh, you know, and the mom there was like, kill it, and she ran up on it saying kill it, and then what do you think it did? Opened those wings and flew right at her and scared the poop out of her. So which was hilarious at the time. However, you know, you may want to be careful of that. I will say, for crawl space, our homes with crawl space, we ran into more water bugs being in the yard or something like that, water bugs, roaches. But for us, being on a slab, we don't see them. It's interesting the way that the house is made, or maybe just the location, because we were in Hope Mills and Fayetteville and surrounding areas, and there could be a difference there. But roaches or water bugs, you will see those. It's in the South. They kind of hang out. They won't bother you. Obviously, we don't like them and we want them out of our house. There are traps available, but there's been plenty of times where people have called exterminators to get rid of them. An exterminator will come up and like, listen, we'll spray, but more than likely they're going to be back, because these things, if they've lasted billions of years, it's going to be hard to defeat them here as well. Water bugs. Last, this one's not really too bad, but cicadas. So cicadas do scare some people because they're very large. They're, you know, their body's this big, let's say, and then we have, you know, their wingspan that can lay off their back about that big. So when they're flying around, it seems like they have no sense of direction. So they really slam into you out of nowhere. I mean, you better be wearing a helmet if they hit you, right? It scares the crap out of you because of how their wings sound. Cicadas have this noise at night, and you'll hear them, especially in the summertime. Now, around 7 years they live in the ground, then they crawl up the tree, and it's which is another bug I guess you have to watch out, is cicada killers, which are wasps, and they circle these tree trunks as the cicadas come up to pick them up and leave with them. Now, if you see a cicada killer carrying a cicada, you don't know what you're staring at. I remember the first one I saw, I grabbed a shovel and I hit it out of the air because I just had no idea what it was. And when it landed, it was a cicada killer holding a cicada, and collectively they're huge, and it's wings, and you know it's a bug, and you're like, what is that thing? Anyway, cicadas come up, they break out of their shell and they fly away. Be careful of these cicadas. I guess they're not gonna bite you or anything, but it is kind of freaky to hear their wings an inch from your ear. It's a big insect, so watch out for those. But some of us love the sound at night, kind of puts us to sleep. That's another bug that you'll see and hear in the South. Let's move on from that. Number 2, the weather. Now, the weather is pretty unpredictable. You can find that in many parts of the country, but it's pretty unpredictable here. Tomorrow should be the first day. I'm recording this in 2023. Tomorrow should be the first day of summer. And you know, last week it was high 80s, lower 90s, and before that it was in the 70s. Now it's raining today. Low temperatures. It's kind of hard to tell. The weatherman will get it as close as possible, but it's kind of hard to tell. It's rainy, then it's cold, then it's hot, and then it's really muggy, but it's kind of hard to gauge the weather sometimes. Also, humidity. It can get very, very muggy in the summertime. For example, we have a portable AC unit just in case our AC goes out. Oh, by the way, it went out. And so it came into use. We plugged kind of the tube thing into the window. It's a dehumidifier, so it's also pulling moisture out of the air. Well, we have a big black bucket, and this thing fills up every single day of just how much water is pulling out of the air. Humidity is a thing. You will take multiple showers a day if you want. You could be that person who doesn't, but more than likely multiple showers a day if you're going out and just getting errands done, because when you walk out, it's like you're hitting a blanket of thick air. So we're used to it here. You know, I'll wear a tank top in the summertime, wear some almost like gym shorts, because you know that's what it's gonna be. I'll put a towel sometimes in my Jeep because you just know what it's gonna be. We're used to it now, but that could be a shock for some people as well. It's just how 100+% the humidity could feel. And is snow. So if you're a fan of snow, you probably won't like it here because we don't get much of it. I think we just had snow last year. Unfortunately, I missed it. I was out of town, but it was one day and maybe an inch or two on the ground, and it was melting by the next day. So we don't get it off. And before that, it was 2 or 3 years before we saw snow. So you're not going to see snow much here, but you probably already know that moving anywhere close to the South. If you are a fan of seasons, I'm sorry. Fall is very short. It falls short. Spring is short as well, right? It almost springs out of the calendar. We don't have seasons here. We have winter and we have summer, and we have a very short amount of time of fall and spring. And you better believe when those times hit within the calendar, we are out, we are enjoying it like it was California, where the weather doesn't change often. The breeze, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but you have a very short amount of time to really take it in. And I tell you what, it makes you grateful. makes you super grateful of that type of weather. However, that will roll me into my third item, which is allergies. Now, I don't have allergies. Thank the Lord. I don't have allergies because my wife does. And it beats her up pretty good. And that's kind of the challenge with spring, right? So you have a short amount of time before everything turns yellow. There's literally yellow storms you will see going across the highway or the road, or if you live out in the country, you're gonna see trees barely move and then woof, a huge cloud of yellow pollen that is going to just raise havoc. So again, lucky I don't have allergies, but just know if you do, be prepared with all the medicine or all the home remedies, whatever you can do, because it does kind of hit hard here in terms of pollen allergies. Also, you know, I will say my wife didn't have allergies before she moved here. So there's that. I've been here since kindergarten, so maybe, you know, it's just I'm used to it, but she didn't, now she does. And for those, 2-3 weeks of pure pollen, it can be difficult to move through. So for you, if you're moving in this area and you do have allergies, just be prepared for that, please. Number 4, drivers. Now, I see issues with drivers sometimes, but I will say that's one of the things we hear when people do move here is just how crazy drivers can be. You do have to be aware. You do have to, especially if you're on a motorcycle, please be aware. But you have to be aware even if you're in an 18-wheeler at this point, right? There's people will cut in, cut out, no blinker, just fly in, slow down. Don't let it snow. Don't let it snow or bad weather, because there will be people who slow almost all the way down, almost like they don't even know what to do. So just be prepared for that. I haven't seen it too much, but I figured I'd put it on here because that is one of the things we hear is like, man, what's up with the drivers here after someone's been here for a few weeks? So, you know, be prepared for that. If you need 6 mirrors on this side, 6 mirrors on this side, some cameras all around to help you get through it, I'll support you. And number 5, this is kind of a gimmick. If you're not used to talking to people, just in public, you may run into some awkward situations because people here are friendly. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, very, very, their Southern charm is real here. And you will find, you know, some of the stuff you see in the news of people that just don't get along or whatever, you don't see. Go out here, people are friendly. It doesn't matter where you come from. This is a melting pot here in Fayetteville. People are very friendly, welcoming, and you're gonna run into that. You're gonna run into conversations that weren't even prompted just to find out how things are going. And again, people will open the door for you, say thank you, right? And open the door for other people. Very friendly, good Southern charm and respect is here. And you do have the military here as well. Some of the most elite soldiers on this planet. And you better believe there's some respect there too. So yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, that type of thing. So that's really it. Listen, if there's some more that you feel like you could add to this list, put in the comments below. I want to know. I could probably make a second version. So give me some ideas. Let's talk about it. And if you haven't already, watch the other videos on this channel that display some of the great places to go when you decide you want to find Fayetteville. Have an amazing day, y'all.